Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Vande Krishna Padaravinda Yugalam Yasmin Kuringi Drisham Vakshoja Pranayi Krute Vilasati Snigdhongaragasvataha Kashmiram Talashonimo Paritanak Kasturikam Nilima Srikhandam Nakha Chandrakandi Lahari Nirvyaja Matanvate संकेतावसरे अच्युते प्रणयतः समृद्धया राधया प्रारभ्य भृगुटीं हिरण्यरशना दाम्ना निबद्धोदरम् कार्तिक्यां जननीकृतोत्सववरप्रस्तावनापूर्वकं चाटूनि प्रतयन्तमात्तपुलकं ध्यायेम दामोदरम् राधाकेलिनिकुञ्जवीथिषु चरन् राधाभिधामुच्चरन् राधाया अनुरूपमेव परमं धर्मं रसेनाचरन् राधायाश्चरणाम्बुजं परिचरन् नोपाचारैर्मुदा कर्हिस्यां श्रुतिशेखरोऽपिरिचरन् आश्चर्यचर्यां चरन् अस्ति स्वस्तरुणीकराग्रविलसत्कल्पप्रसूनाप्लुतम् वस्तु प्रस्तुत वेणुनादलहरी निर्वाणनिर्व्याकुलम् स्रस्तस्रस्तनिरुद्धनी विवलसद्गोपी सहस्रावृतम् हस्तन्यस्तनतापवर्गमखिलोदारं किशोराकृतिः मन्दं मन्दं मधुरनिनदैर्वेणुमापूरयन्तं बृन्दं बृन्दावनभुवि गवां चारयन्तं चरन्तं छन्दोभागे शतमखमखध्वंसिनां दानवानां हन्तारं तं कथय रसने गोपकन्याभुजङ्गम् कस्तूरीतिलकं ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम् नासाग्रे वरमुक्तिकं करतले वेणुः करे कङ्कणम् सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं च कलयन् कण्ठे च मुक्तावली गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपालचूडामणिः निखिलभुवनलक्ष्मी नित्यलीलास्पदाभ्यां कमलविपिनवीथी गर्वसर्वङ्कषाभ्यां प्रणमदभयदानप्रौढिगाढादृताभ्यां किमपि वहतु चेतः कृष्णपादाम्बुजाभ्यां वंशीविभूषितकरान्नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्री गणेश शारदा गुरुभ्यो नमः। शिवाय गुरवे नमः. So in the last session we had this verse Tvannas sandarshito dhatra dustaram nistitirshatam kalim sattvaharam pumsam karnadhara ivarnavam. That was the penultimate verse of the first chapter. So one more verse to go. It was mentioned by Shaunaka to Sudha that by the grace of Ishvara or Dhata, Dhatra Tvamna Sandarshitaha. So you have been clearly pointed out to us as the helmsman of a ship who are desirous to crossing this ocean of Kali or Samsara. That was what was talked by Shaunaka. So we also mentioned how it is important to have pranipata, pariprasna, asking the right contextual questions, and all that were discussed in the last session. Now in this verse, the last verse of first chapter, Shaunaka is going to ask about what happened to this dharma, Bhagavata dharma in general, after Krishna left to his abode, Goloka or Vaikuntha. Before that, Krishna was holding it Now Krishna has left. The Kali Yuga is going to come to an end, and what is going to happen to Dharma? There is a question he's going to raise now. Let us look at that. Bruhi Yogeshware Krishne Brahmanye Dharmavarmani Swam Kashta Madhuno Pete Dharmakam Sharanam Gataha. So that's the verse. The Padacheda is Bruhi. That's a verb. Meaning, please tell. Yogeshware Krishne. Krishna, who is the Lord of Master of Yoga. Brahmanye Krishne. And who is the absolute truth. Sridhara writes as Kripalu. We will see that. Dharma. The various dharmas. Dharma Varmani. The protector of Dharma. Who is Krishna. Swam Kashtam Adhuna Upete. Swam one's own. Kashta is Swarupa or abode. Adhuna nowadays. Upete having gone away. Dharmaha, all the religious duties, all the observances, spiritual observances. Kam Sharanam Gataha. Where have they gone? Since they lost their shelter in the form of Krishna, what happened to them? That is the verse. Bruhi Yogeshware Krishne Brahmanye Dharmavarmani Swam Kashtam Adhuna Upete Dharmaha Kam Sharanam Gataha. Where did Dharma go? Tell us to whom this dharma or righteousness has now resorted for shelter when Krishna, the master of yoga, who is well versed in the Vedas, Brahmanya, and the protector of religion, Dharma Varma, who protects like a kavacha, has returned to his Swarupa, Sodhama Upakada. What happened to Dharma? There is a question. Now Sridhara here writes, Brahmanya means Dayalutvam Upadarshitam. Dharmasya Varmani Kavachavad Rakshake. So he protects dharmas like a kavacham. Just like an armor protects you. When you wear a mask, no virus can get in. Similarly, when Krishna is around, nothing can happen to dharma. But now, Swam Kashtam Maryadam Swaswarupam Ityarthaha Gate. Now Krishna has gone back to his glory, his Swarupa. Then Dharma Sharanangataha. What happened to Dharma? So Sridhara writes, Asyacha Uttaram Krishne Sodamo Pagade Dharma Jnanadi Vissaha Idi Ayam Slokaha. He says the answer to this question would be given on the 43rd and 44th verse of the 3rd chapter. You will see the answer, what happened to that Dharma. There he is going to say, Krishne Sodhamo Pagade Dharma Jnanadi Vissaha Kalau Nashtadrisham Eshaha Puranarko Adhuna Uditaha. He's going to say that the Dharma came in the form of Bhagavatam. But right now it is only the question. With this chapter is ending. And at the end they say this. It is Srimad Bhagavate Mahapurane Paramahamsyam Samhitayam Prathamaskande Rishi Prashnaha Namaha Prathamaha Adhyayaha. So we will see all that one by one. First the word Brahmanye, that is what was taken by Sridharacharya. So the word Brahmanya has many meanings, because the word Brahma has many meanings. You know, Brahma means Brahmaji, Brahma means Vedas, and all of them are relevant in this context. Brahmanya means Brahmane Hitam, that which is beneficial to Brahma, Brahmam. That is the meaning of Brahmanyam. So one who is beneficial to Brahmaji, that is the first meaning, the creator. Because even Brahmaji worships Krishna, Bhagavan, for his blessings, in order to do his job properly. What is his job? Creation. Tene Brahma Hrida. That's what we said in the first verse. The entire creation is brought about by Brahmaji, by Veda, by Jnanam. And for that Jnanam, he does tapas, he meditates on Bhagavan. And because of that, Bhagavan does hitam for this Brahmaji. He does anugraha. That is why Krishna is called as Brahmanya. one who blesses Lord Brahma. And second meaning is Brahmanaya Hitam. He is a source of blessings for Brahmanas. Brahmanas means what? Those who have predominantly Sattva-guna and who follow a Vedic life and do the enjoying rituals and live a life of giving, sacrifice and dharma. The one who studies and teaches the Veda, all these are meant by Brahmana. We are going to see what Brahmana a little while after. So, Tasmai Brahmanaya Hitam. For those Brahmanas, he is beneficial. Bhagavan is beneficial. He blesses them specially because they are solely dependent on him. The third meaning of Brahma is tapas. So he is tapase hitam. He is beneficial to those who do tapas, meaning those who are very contemplative, those who are into inquiry. And then another meaning of Brahma is Vedam, the Sakshat scripture. Srute hitam. So he is beneficial to the Sruti, to the Upanishads, to the Vichara of the Vedas. Because Brahma means Veda as well. So all the four Vedas are Brahman, and the very subject matter that is to be known by the Veda is also Brahman. Means the truth, unqualified truth. What kind of beneficiary is Ishvara in reference to Shruti? He makes the Shruti Pramanikam. That is how he is a beneficiary. He benefits Shruti. He makes it Pramanikam means he makes it authentic. He makes it very valid. Because of Krishna, the Vedas have become valid. He presented that Vedasaram Gita so that now we know the glory of the Vedas. He is the one who makes this Veda valid by giving us one of the Prasthanatrayas, the Gita. Why? Because the Veda says, in many places there are several statements in the Veda. Somene jeta swarga kamaha. If you are interested in Swarga, do Somayaga. Putragama putragameshtya yajeta, and so on. If you want progeny, if you want to gain Swarga, you do this and this karma. Or if you have other objects of desire, they also are fulfilled by several statements, suktas in the Vedas. But when a person performs a particular karma, all that karma phala is given by Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the karma phala data. He blesses that person with the result for that karma. And unless he gives the result of the Vedic karmas, the Vedas won't be valid. Thus, he makes the words of the Veda pramanikam, authentic, valid. That is how Bhagavan upholds what is said in the Shruti or Vedas. Why? Because yasya nishwasitam Vedaha, the very breath of Sri Krishna, the very breath of Bhagavan is Veda. He says that in Gita. Vedandavit Veda Videvachaham. I am the Vedavit. I am the one who creates it and I am the one who knows it. Hence it is his job to make it Pramanikam. That is why Sridhar Swami points out that Dharmasya Varmani Kavachavad Rakshake. He is all knowing and therefore knows all the dharmas and protect dharmas like a kavacha, like an armor protects the thing inside it, he protects dharma. Like a kavacha, an armor, he protects dharma. He is never confused about dharma. Dharma means what? What is right and wrong. That is dharma. And when you don't know that, what happens? You are in dharma sankata. Dharma sankata means confusion about what is right and wrong. Can I give capital punishment or not? That is the confusion of a judge. So all these dharma sankatas are because of confusion of dharma, and that can happen only to a jiva, not to Bhagavan. Bhagavan is never has an experience of dharma sankata. That is why he is Brahmanya. He is the one who is to be known by Brahma or the Veda. So Brahmane Hidam Brahmanyam. The Veda and Bhagavatam are not different. Why? Because the chapters and the verses of the Bhagavata has the same content, the same vision as that of the Vedas. Therefore, the Bhagavata was referred as Nigamakalpataror Gilidam Phalam. Also, now we said at the end of the first chapter, Paramahamsa Samhita. That is the name of Bhagavata. Why Bhagavata is referred as Paramahamsa Samhita? Just like the Vedas are also, they are referred to as Samhita. So same reference, the word Samhita is referred to both Vedas and the Bhagavata. The reference here being to the Jnana that is yet to be described in Bhagavatam, because the actual Jnana has not begun. We are just now in Prashnadhyaya. And what is that Jnanam? Jnanam means self-knowledge, our true Surupa Jnanam. What will happen if you gain this self-knowledge? What will happen if you know who you are? Then you will know your purpose. Then you will destroy all shoka. That is shoka moha bhayapaha. Shokapaha basically destroys all the sorrow. You won't worry what is happening. Why is there so much of sorrow around? Because you will crack that problem. You will understand. The shoka will be gone once you know your surupam. That is why we need that jnanam. In fact, Shuka, by giving Parikshit, and Shuka is a Paramahamsa, he, by giving Parikshit his Surupa Jnana, he removed Parikshit's sorrow. Otherwise, Parikshit was worried about death. He was scared about death. But that bhayam was removed by giving him this jnanam. That Atma is Nitya, etc. Therefore, the Bhagavatam is referred to as Paramahamsa Samhita, whose subject matter is the content of Paramahamsa Samhita, which is Vidya, or the knowledge of one's Surupa, or Paramatmanaha Bhagavataha Surupaha. That is the content of Bhagavatam. It deals with who you really are and who Bhagavan is. It reveals the reality of both Atmana and Paramatman, both Bhagavan and the Jiva. And it finally tells that the self itself is Brahman. This is what the Upanishads also are talking about. So being identical to the Vedas in terms of its subject matter of this jnanam, Bhagavatam cannot but be the knowledge of Bhagavan. And that is why here he is referred to as Yogeshware. Bhagavan is also Yogeshwara. So it talks about this yoga for maturity, for preparing the mind for this Bhagavad Jnanam, which is the knowledge of Bhagavan. So when he refers to Yogeshwara, by yoga he means Karma Yoga, which includes all the disciplines like Ashtanga Yoga, the religious rituals which are Karma Yoga, or the Pauranika rituals like Ekadashi, the prayers, the stutis, and so on. Performing all these various dharmas or religious duties or other duties that one confronts in different situations with a attitude of giving towards Bhagavan is called as yoga. Ishwararpana buddhya kritam karma yoga uchyate. Also, when the Bhagavatam talks about bhakti, that is also yoga. When it talks about karma to be done with bhakti, that's also yoga. So the Bhagavatam then mainly describes Bhagavad Upasanam, Upasana of Ishvara, which is purely yoga, implying devotion as well as all other auxiliary disciplines that are used for preparing the mind for jnanam, for knowledge. Generally, yoga is nirodha, or control or mastery of senses. That also is included in the word yoga. It also means an upaya, a means for achieving something. That is also yoga. So any form of meditation, dhyana or contemplation is also yoga. So the subject matter of this first chapter, which is the Shaunakadi Rishi Samprashna, or the questions being raised between Suta and Shaunaka in Naimisha forest is what leads to the second chapter. The content of the second chapter is the merits of devotion to Hari with Vichara as the only path of Mukti or liberation. Tatsrunvan, that's what they say, by hearing. Prapathan, by reading Bhagavatam again and again. That's why the word Patan means reading, continuous tense. Prapatan means again and again, like Pariprashna in the last class. Vicharana paraha. Vicharana means pondering, thinking over again and again. How bhaktya, with devotion, with a proper attitude, naraha vimuchyet. So that is what is presented in the second chapter. Like the Hari's devotion is the only way of gaining self-knowledge or mukti. So Parikshit's shoka or his despair leads him to his guru, who is Shuka, and Shuka leads him to an inquiry, to a vichara. Normally that's what happens when you have shoka. Two things can happen actually when you have suffering. One, it can lead to escapism. You want to just shut it off by taking a pill or doing whatever you want. You want to get away from that unpleasant situation. Or you can go for analysis. You can go for thinking. That's why people go for this psychoanalysis and all this. Because by inquiry you can actually tarati shokam atmavit. Once you know the content of yourself, which is nothing but your desires and all your thought patterns, then you can shokam tarati. Otherwise what happens, you'll take an escapist attitude, including suicide. Because death means another form of escape from the problem. But in Parikshit's case, it led him to Vichara. And Shuka made sure, the Guru made sure that he did this Vichara properly according to the Vedic wisdom. Therefore, we have this entire book of Bhagavatam. The main theme of this Bhagavatam is Dharma. That's why he's asking this question. What happened to this Bhagavata Dharma? Bhagavata Dharma means what? The fundamental truths of Dharma. All that is taught here by way of correcting the various errors which happen in our social duties, in our ethical and religious duties. So all these problems are, the errors in these problems are corrected in the light of Bhagavata Dharma. So the entire Bhagavatam is intended for the solutions of problems which stems from wrong thinking, wrong understanding from time to time. Whenever this human conditions disintegrates as a result of dushkrityam, dharmasya glanihi, yada bhavati, yada hi dharmasya glanihi, by some misguided or misinformed actions of a few, creating dharma glani, causing variance within this natural order of things, which is dharma, which is opposed to the dictates of one's own conscience and the Vedic teaching. Then and there Bhagavan appears and restores this imbalance. This is what we see in the many narratives that we are going to see throughout the Bhagavatam. All the samvadas, the transaction, question answers, they are all regarding dharma. Such as the origin and basis of dharma, of duties of varnashramas, the laws of marriage, the king's duties, Rajadharma, towards people, Prajadharma, the people's duties towards the king, as well as to each other, their rights and privileges, the cultivation of such moral virtues as satyam or truthfulness, danam or charity, all this is dharma. They are all going to be narrated eventually. And Bhagavatam not only does this, it also answers questions regarding one's inner life, one's spiritual life. What is the best means of getting or attaining freedom? which is the straight, simple path to mukti, whether it is bhakti, devotion, or karma, works, or jnanam, knowledge. Should we perform all the works that comes our way as enjoined by the Shastras, or should we give them up? Why? Because they bind us. Forever you will be like a karmatha, stuck in this world. How to worship this Bhagavan? Should we worship him as Saguna, in a condition with form, with attributes, or as Nirguna, or as unconditioned, without attributes or form, and so on? So all this Bhagavata is concerned. It is mainly concerned with the laws of spiritual progress and shaping the man's spiritual life. And not only that, he is going to say, Srimad Bhagavatham Sakshat Pratyaksha Krishna Evahi. You have to keep it in mind that Bhagavatam personifies Bhagavan Krishna. So all the Krishna Leelas, all his actions or work of Krishna, it was all directed to the preservation of Dharma or spirituality on earth. As Bhishma says in Mahabharata, Namo Dharmaya Mahate Namaha Krishnaya Vedase. Bhagavan Sri Krishna saw that he could achieve his life work only by recapitulating the truths and laws of the Vedic Sanatana Dharma, pure and simple. All the references to the Vedic rituals and Varnashrama distinctions and other peculiar features of our Hindu system of religion are intended mainly to remove the errors that have kept into the Varnashrama system during this lapse of time, which has proven to be a source of evil, oppression and discord. Accordingly, the Bhagavata points out several other parallel systems of religion as path of spiritual progress, representing many stages which are devised by these Vedic rishis for different classes, different adhikaris, different classes of people who have arrived at different stages of life. But all of them should be based on this dharma, the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal law and truth. How widely and in what respect one sways away or depart from this Sanatana Dharma, and how each of them reformed and followed in the spirit of Sanatana Dharma can lead through the several intermediate stages to the final goal of mukti. So this is what Bhagavata presents. For this, in this chapter, in the beginning itself, Bhagavata presented three basic features of dharma. The first feature, first dharma or law, Bhagavatam insists, is that one has to recognize this fact called vastu, vastavam vastu, or atma or soul as vastavam, real, eternal. You have to recognize that. That is the only enduring reality. That is the only true being, the soul, the consciousness, the awareness inside you. It is that awareness, the presence of that Atma, that entity in this body, that enables it to be a living organism. Once the Atma departs, then the body is caused to die. It causes death. That this true being is independent of the body, of this sense, mind, body complex. That Atma exists from time immemorial, without a beginning, and shall exist throughout time, unaffected by whatever changes happen outside in the external world. But by making the Atma wiser by these experiences, by using the Stula and Sukshma and Samsthana, the Karanas, the gross and subtle faculties, the instruments by gaining this Anubhava or experience of the world around him. Thus, the Atman is never subject to the changes of birth and death, as it is ever present as a witness consciousness of those changes, of the whole series of changes which occur in the body, senses, and mind, as in the world without. So that one has to recognize that Atma Tattvam. It is the mind, the senses, and the body that are subject to change, but not the being, the witness, who witnesses the change from within and behind all. That is the first law. That is the first dharma of a devotee, of a person who inquires into Bhagavatam. So anyone who is on the path of Bhagavatam should recognize this existence of this immortal self in oneself, and then he should also understand the necessity of knowing this, that knowledge, self-knowledge has to be one's priority. And for that, one has to have this readiness to seek and find out this true self, and one should develop an intense aspiration for the realization of this basic self by acquiring adhikaratvam or basic qualification, and these are demanded by from the disciples of all acharyas, any sampradaya with whatever sampradaya you belong to, they all will ask you to have this one qualification of recognizing that there is a fact apart from this body called Atma. So that is the first requirement. Unless there exists something external to this body or internal to this body, which is eternal, which is capable of becoming infinite, knowing that eternal bliss. If you don't believe in that, then there is no rationale for a spiritual ethics or dharma. So that we have to accept. Number one law is that Vastavam Vastu Vedyam. One has to know the real thing, which is the self, the true self, which is changeless. Ajaha Nityaha Shaswataha. That's how Gita presents that. The second Bhagavad Dharma, or second law, is to acquire Atma Samskara. The second law is to acquire Atma Samskara. Because if you don't cultivate samskara or virtues or Atma Samskara or the virtues of the soul, such as Nirmatsarata, non-aggression, you cannot be like fighting, have a fighting spirit, have this fighting orientation, aggressive orientation like you have in your worldly life. That you cannot have. That will not prepare you for that relaxed state of inquiry. So when you come to this Bhagavatam, then you have to have that Nirmatsarada as one of the samskara. It is, unless there exists the samskara of Nirmatsarada or of non-aggression, the true nature of self cannot be recognized. For that, you have to bring about in yourself the conditions of getting to know this self. This can be brought about through our own antahkarana parinama, or a cognitive shift or an inner transformation. Unless we can first harmonize our thoughts, we are not prepared for this change or metamorphosis. So how do we do that? By constant watchfulness, one will be able to see that the self is changeless. It is unchangeable, and it remains the same during the changing affectations of the mind and body. This is what Bhagavatam will call Swaswarupavastitihi Muktir Hitvan Yatha Rupam Swaswarupenavastitihi. That's what it's going to say. the invariable self, which is seen in all our experience as consistent and unchanging, in contrast with the variable self that we take upon ourselves while we transact in this world, has to be known separately. The variable self is not the real self, the real I, but the invariable me, or the self is the real I. Although the I that responds to various situations is invariable, it can be seen that in some situations, such as while observing this open sky, or looking at a mountain, or looking at an ocean, there is perfect composure, peace inside you. Whereas in other situations involving personal transactions, when it encounters problems, then it has difficulty retaining this composure. So by the study of the self, the student realizes that what is temporary and impermanent cannot be the inherent quality of the self. This is termed by the Bhagavatam, this temporary and the impermanent dharma of the variable self is termed by Bhagavatam as Anyatha Rupa Tyagaha. Muktir Hitva Anyatha Rupam. Giving up of this variable self, as opposed to the invariable self that remains the same throughout all the changes as an ever-present witness. So Bhagavatam enjoins the second dharma, which is the acquisition of samskaras and developments of these virtues to all the people who follow this path of Sanatana Dharma. It does not matter to which class, which social order, which caste, what gender, what race they may belong. But everyone, every single one, they require these virtues. That is why Bhagavan says that a true Brahmana, when he defines a true Brahmana or a wise person, as he says in the 42nd verse of the 18th chapter, he describes the quality of a Brahmana. Who is the person with Brahma Karma? Shamo damas tapas shaucham kshantirarjavame vacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma swabhavacham. So shamaha or serenity, damaha or self-restraint, tapaha austerity or discipline, shaucham purity, kshanti forgiveness, accommodation, arjavamevacha, and also uprightness, being straightforward, jnanam knowledge of the self, vijnanam wisdom or anubhavam of the self, astikyam vedeshu pramanya buddhihi, having faith in the Vedas, brahma karma. These are the virtues of Brahmanas or the wise people. Why? Because swabhavajam. It is born of their nature due to deliberation. So it does not happen accidentally. They deliberate upon these Vedic truths and get to this state of being a Brahmana. Any person, therefore, who has developed these virtues by studious culture is a Brahmana. Though social prejudices may assign him to a different class or a caste, to the contrary, no man who is reputed as a Brahmana Sreshta or a great Brahmin, but in whom this Atma Samskara or these virtues of the soul do not exist in a visibly remarkable degree. It should be there. Otherwise, he has no more right to have the title of a Brahmana. In a sense, all the followers of Sanatana Dharma or Bhagavata Dharma, all those who are endeavoring to acquire the Atma Samskaras or virtues of soul, are engaged in the cultivation of these virtues, may be called as Brahmanas. And in this sense, the name was once applied before all this Chaturvarnya came, to all Aryans, all practitioners of Sanatana Dharma, before they were divided into these four classes of Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Chaturthas and Brahmanas, because they were all named after the transactional duties assigned to them respectively according to their inherent natural tendencies and capacities. So this Atma Vidya is thus open to all sincere aspirants who would develop this Atma Guna or Atma Dharma, Atma Samskara. Because these virtues of Atma are mentioned or recommended to all classes of people by our Shastras, it follows that by studiously cultivating these virtues, one may be called or may attain the status of a Brahmana and then tread the path of wisdom as revealed in the Shastra. In this connection, it must be remembered that the virtues of the soul, which all the followers of Dharma should cultivate, include Jnanam, Dhyanam and Vijnanam. That's what he said in that verse. That is a theoretical knowledge of spiritual truths, that is Jnanam, which is acquired through Vedas, which is the primary source of this Jnanam. And then after acquiring this Jnanam, a capacity to contemplate intensely on those truths. And then to realize those truths known before only by the study of these scriptures. So, does it mean that this Atma Vidya is open to all people, irrespective of their status, who earnestly follow the teaching of Sanatana Dharma and equip themselves with the necessary virtues by this Atma Dharma or virtues of Atma? Their logical reasoning and the Shastra are in complete agreement. The Shastra says yes, they can. That's why we should have the second law in mind, which is Nirmatsarata or developing Atma Gunas. And the last one, the third law is Atra Paramaha Dharmaha. Atra Paramaha means without any trapa, without any shame, you have to have this love for this divine or this love for divine wisdom. That's the third one. The path of wisdom resolving in divine love. So with that attitude of bhakti, you should have that pursuit of this jnanam. That was what was described in that second Dharma Projita Kaitava verse. So the path of wisdom is the path of Atra Parama or Ananya Bhakti Yoga. And it is marked by complete surrender of all personal and worldly concerns. When the mind is completely insulated from the concerns of external life, then it is able to appreciate the true nature of Bhagavan, as described in Bhagavatam, as described in the Veda. Such a devotee is presented by Gita in the 18th chapter, 51st verse onwards. Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukta Dhrityatmanam Niyamya cha Shabdadin Vishayan Stakva Ragadvesho Vyudasya cha Vivikta Sevi Lagvashi Yadava Kaya Manasaha Dhyana Yoga Paro Nityam Vairagyam Samupashitaha Ahankaram Balam Darpam Kamam Krodham Parigraham Vimuchya Nirmama Shanto Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So he becomes Kalpate, Samartha, fit to attain this wisdom. Who, a devotee remaining in a secluded spot, Vivikta Sevi, Leggvashi, consuming sattvic food, Yatava Kaya Manasaha, remaining in a restrained position, restraining the body, speech and mind, Vak, Kaya and Manaha, and thought from external influences or activity. Dhyana Yoga Paro Nityam, contemplating upon the truths taught to him by the Shastra and the teacher, studiously maintaining an attitude of indifference towards the objects of pleasures, having set aside all pride of self, ahankaram, balam, darpam, all strong personal attachments, all haughtiness, darpam, all forms of lust and anger and possessions of all kinds, claiming nothing, claiming everything as Ishwaras. The devotee remains calm, with no wall of separation between him and Bhagavan, in whom he has been seeking this Ananya Bhakti to resolve himself. When the devotee has attained that firm footing with the mind completely calm and relaxed and serene, incapable of hankering for new pleasures and possessions, or incapable of grieving for any deprivation that he may sustain due to prarabdha, treating everyone alike, regarding all beings like himself, embracing in him in his vision of ever expanding love for all beings, then he rises to the perfect and highest devotion of his Ishta. His relationship with his Bhagavan is constant and perfect, with no wheel of anyatvam or partition. It is ananyam. There is no partition between himself and Ishvara. His affinity with Ishvara enables the Bhakta to realize that Bhagavan in all his vibhutis, in all his glory and grandeur. Then the devotee enters into the very being of Bhagavan, being Ananya Bhakta, wherein his individuality resolves in that of Bhagavan. Swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahisha guru brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam loka samastas sugino bhavantu sarve bhavantu sukinaha sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.